Hello, everyone from Manchester Center, Vermont. Um, so, it's been a while since we've chatted about money, mileage, and milestones. So, I think it's about time. Sorry for the delay, and we're going to cover two different weeks, week 18 and 19, in this video. Also, I apologize for the last video. The sound was kind of crappy, uh, mainly because I did not shove the headphone jack in far enough. And so I got the sound that we had earlier a bunch of videos ago where it was crapping out because my forward-facing microphone is damaged, and I'm not going to have the phone replaced until we're done with the trail and I see how much damage I've done to the phone total. So anyway, here we are. We're in Manchester Center, Vermont, and that's where we ended week 19. We'll do week 18 first, and then we'll do the money and mileage and milestones from week 19, and then I'll answer the questions that we had for those 2 weeks. The reason for the delay is typically I wait. I'm not as disciplined as Chica is, and I usually wait to do my video until I know I can upload it. And we've had really crappy Wi-Fi in the towns that we've visited. This is the first time we're able to upload it. If you've noticed on YouTube earlier, probably yesterday, because I'm going to post this the next morning because I'm waiting till the night to do this. You'll notice that Chica posted like 5 or 6 different videos, and those were all backlogged. I think it's even going to get worse as we go into New Hampshire and then Maine. I know people we followed when I was reading the comments of later on in the hiker's journey. Everybody's going, "Are you guys still on the trail? Did you make it? What's going on?" Because there's going to be weeks and weeks and weeks where we cannot post and where they could not post because of poor Wi-Fi. In fact, usually the Katahdin Summit and the 100-mile wilderness and all that stuff is usually posted after the person's already gotten home, just because that's how it works out, because there's no great place to put it. We've tried to slim videos and post it when the Wi-Fi is not that strong, and the quality really suffers, and we get lots of nasty comments saying your quality sucks. So we're not going to do that. All right, so let's talk about week 18 on the Appalachian Trail. Week 18 covers July 19th through July 25th. We started at Morgan Stewart Shelter. That was at mile 1438. And we ended up at the Shaker campsite, which was mile 1538.2. So that week we went 100 miles, 0.2. And we spent a lot of money. You'll see that's a trend for these 2 weeks, spending a lot of money. The accommodations break down like this. We spent $378 in accommodations on 3 separate stays. Resupply, we spent $142. Dinners out, we spent $131. Total is $651 total for that. Broken down, $6.50 per mile, or broken down per person per mile. We're looking at $3.25. Kind of on the upper end of what we typically spend. And we'll get to those reasons why here in a little bit. As far as milestones go, we crossed New York off the list. We completed it, and we completed Connecticut. Both New York and Connecticut probably should not have been too challenging for us. However, the heat and humidity were just oppressive, and I struggle with that anyway. And I was having a really hard time. Let's get into week 19, and then we'll talk a little bit about why it seems like we're spending so much money, because we are. So week 19 we started at Stover Camp in Massachusetts. And this covers July 26th through August 1st, which is today. And we ended, excuse me, we ended with a Nero into Manchester Center, Vermont, which is, we did like 6 miles today into the town. It was lovely. We got here just the way I like to on a Nero, like 9:45. We had to hitch into town. We got here early. We were able to get a cup of coffee, sit and have breakfast. The local hotel owner where we're staying, it's more like kind of a bed and breakfast without the breakfast, but it's a person's house that they've converted. But we got here. He let us in at like 10:30, which really gave us the whole day to explore and relax and enjoy the town. You might ask yourself, well, why are you waiting until night to do your video? You had all that time. Well, I think that's something Chica would probably ask as well. But here we are. So, okay. So, Stover Camp was at 1538.2. Manchester Center is at 1650.7. That gives us 112.5 miles for the week, and that is our biggest week ever. Usually we're right over 100 or just under 100, 112.5 with kind of the build up to New Hampshire is pretty good. I think the hills are getting bigger, and we had Stratton Mountain that we climbed yesterday, which was a pretty intense climb. Followed shortly by a wonderful pond to swim in, which we had a good time. Anyway, okay, so this week's money is pretty sad. I was going to say funny, but it's sad. Okay, so lodging. Lodging was $253. In-town food. This is going to shock you. $508. Resupply was $63. We sent some stuff back home. We sent our stove home finally, and our cook pot and a couple other things. That was $14. The other day when I was hanging our bear bag shortly after restocking, and both bear bags were extremely heavy. The bear bag rope broke when I was trying to get it down. Luckily, it broke low enough so I could reach it with my hand. Otherwise, the bear bags might still be up there. So I felt I felt a need to get a bear bag rope, and luckily here in Manchester Center, there's a great outfitter, and they had several selections of bear rope, and I got 50 feet of that for $11. Which, if I would have bought it from Z-Packs, where I originally got it, that would have been $14 plus shipping. So, better deal here in Manchester Center. So, let's talk about why we're spending so much money. One reason is because things are just more expensive here. Resupplies, going out to dinner, having a beer, it's all more expensive. Basically, after New Jersey. When you get into New Jersey, moving forward, we're finding that everything's more expensive. The other reason is I've been in a funk the last, week and a half, and I've been kind of a whiny baby. I'm just tired of hiking, and so any little thing that has gotten on my nerves, I want to get into a hotel or motel or a hostel. I want to go have dinner. A great example of this the other night, we summited Greylock Mountain. And granted, this isn't all my fault, but I was all on board. We summited with 3 of our hiker friends, and someone, I don't know who it was, it could have been me, we had 3 miles more to go to the shelter. Someone said, hey, let's go have a drink before we move on. And we did. and a drink there was $20 around for Chica and I for a glass of beer and a glass of wine. While we're having that drink, we're having a great spirited conversation, and someone else, I don't remember who, could have been me, says, why don't we check and see if there's any rooms available or bunks available, because it's kind of like a hostel there. It's called the Lodge, but it's more of a hostel type environment. And so one of the guys went and asked the manager, and sure enough, there were 10 spaces available, and we were just 5 people, so there was space, and we quickly came to a unanimous decision that we would stay the night. When we all go to say, hey, we want to reserve the bunk, well, do you want dinner? And we're like, and they show us the menu, and it was very, very good looking food. It was $35 a head for dinner. And someone said, yes, I'll have the dinner. And so everybody else said, yes, we'll have the dinner. So $35 for dinner, $30 for the bunk, $20 a round, several rounds, and all that money just accrued. And part of that is just a fatigue of being on the trail and hiking every single day. I usually start off the day very motivated. After the first 5 or 6 miles, at our first break, Chica's usually putting her backpack on and saying, are we going to go? And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. And I just I mentally check out, and then I put some music on and drudge out the next few miles. So, I think it's just hiker fatigue. I think, it's maybe a bit of the Virginia blues that I didn't get until Vermont. Or it started with the heat and humidity. We've had a full week of beautiful, beautiful, crisp, cool weather, perfect hiking weather. In there, we also had some rain. So like last week we had 4 hotel stays. This week we had 3 hotel stays. Last week, one of the reasons was rain. I've decided that if I know in advance that it's going to be 100% rain, I'm not going to hike in it. We only have about 5.5 weeks left of this trail, and I'm going to make it as comfortable as possible, even though I know it is dwindling our budget down pretty quick, and we may go over a little bit, which we have some reserve for. Anyway, so I think I went over everything. So $841 is what we spent. Luckily, we hiked a lot of miles this week, and so with 112.5 miles hiked, that gives us $7.48 spent per mile, or $3.73 per person. So, in total for the trip, we've hiked, I didn't write it down, 1,650.7 miles, and we spent $8,972. That breaks down to $5.44 per mile, or per person per mile, $2.72. In the beginning, our initial goal was $225, $230 per person, and it looks like if this trend continues, which we're going to try to scale it back a bit, but my mental health might cause us to spend a little bit more. So we might end up a little bit over, maybe for the trip $1,000 over. We will see. Okay. Milestones for week 19. We got out of Massachusetts. Massachusetts was a great state. I enjoyed Massachusetts mainly because the weather was beautiful. And we had the biggest mile this week yet. So let's get to some questions. There's a few of them. Okay. Ashley and Justin both ask a very similar question, so I'll kind of rephrase it, and I think it's something I've probably addressed before, but I don't mind addressing it again. What do we do for work, and how do we manage all the stuff that's going on at home with car insurance and health insurance and having to deal with pets and things like that? The simple answer is we don't have anything to deal with. Outside of a Verizon bill, which we pay online, we have nothing. In 2013, we sold every single thing we had. We sold the big house, the 2 cars, the grand piano. We sold everything we had, moved to Costa Rica. In Costa Rica, we did not acquire a thing. We went there with nine suitcases worth of stuff, and after giving stuff to the church there, we came back with like seven suitcases of stuff. So we own very little. We don't have the obligations of having a pet. We don't have the obligations of having children. We don't have the obligations that come with having a car. When we're off the trail, we'll buy a car, but we don't have one now. So it's not the typical situation, and it makes it very easy for us to manage. The way we've seen other people manage on the trail is typically a spouse or a loved one is at home taking care of the home front while the other one is hiking. I've heard of people selling their car before they come on so they don't have to worry about car payments and insurance. And you just minimize the number of plates you have to spin to be out here. And so what do we do for a living? Okay, so going back to Costa Rica, we basically semi-retired, but we found ourselves, because we're both Chica and I are industrious people and we're not idle, we found that we wanted to write a little bit, and so we both started blogs. Those blogs found an audience in Costa Rica, and so we capitalized on that, and we both wrote books about moving to Costa Rica or living in Costa Rica or the town we were living in. In total, we wrote 6 books together, 2 for me, 4 for Chica. And they did really well. They still do pretty good. So that gives us some income. We had some investment income when we were in Costa Rica. At the time, you could invest in a Costa Rican CD and earn 7 or 8% on your money, which was outstanding. So that helped pay our bills in Costa Rica. I wrote for a company called International Living magazine. I was a correspondent for them for Costa Rica. So moving forward, basically we did all that, and I also did some pet sitting. Chica made jewelry, and we did all those things on the side to save up money for this trip. And we saved up basically the budget we've been talking about, and we have savings to cover if we go over that. But we basically saved up $14,000, $3,000 for gear, and $11,000 for the actual trip. And so that's even though we have some residual income coming in from the books, we're not making a whole lot, and but we have the trip covered. So that's what we do for work. Very little. We have plans to write after this trip is done, and we'll write about the trail, hopefully in a unique way that will shine some light on some areas that have not been addressed yet. Hiking as a couple, hiking as a female, not me, but Chica. Things like that. Hiking as a mid-40s couple. It's a small contingency out here, but it's underrepresented in literature. So those things might be on the horizon. All right, hopefully that answers both those questions. Let's see what else we got. Okay, Marissa asks about the overall condition of our feet have our feet grown? Have we had any problems when we've changed our footwear? And when I say changed our footwear, I just mean getting brand new footwear that is this same exact shoe that we had before. Our feet have been great. Chica has the dual sock system where she has a liner sock that goes around each toe and then a darn tough sock over that. I've gone with just darn toughs. Neither of us has had a blister yet. I think a lot of that has to do with starting off with lower mileage, hiking lots of miles in the shoes that we were going to, the model shoes that we were going to use on the trail, before the trail, and hiking in trail runners, which don't require to be broken into really. Chica did have to get some inserts for her soles, but otherwise, we've been very fortunate with our feet. They do ache every day, and they cause that hiker hobble, which is kind of a funny thing every time you stand up, even if you haven't been hiking for a while. But that's everybody. Nobody gets away from not having the hiker hobble. So feet are good. Let's see what else we got. Okay, what has been the most awesome surprise and the most underwhelming? And this is very similar to a question that we talked about last time. I was going to say last week, but this is 2 weeks worth, so 3 weeks ago. The most surprising has been how awesome the people are. The other hikers that we've come to know and love, and the people supporting the trail, whether they're people out there working to make the trail better, trail angels, or just people at home who are supporting hikers. That has been overwhelming. It's been surprising, is what it's been. It's wonderful. The most underwhelming, or that we've been surprised, for me, I would have to say the lack of animals. We'll go days and not see anything but birds and maybe a chipmunk. I really expected to see some larger mammals. We've seen one raccoon, no porcupines, a few deer, 29 snakes. We have seen the snakes. I can't complain about that. I'm really ecstatic that we saw those snakes, but I just thought we would see more because we're hiking through forests and mountains, and like the animals just don't want to be seen. But that's been the most underwhelming thing. Sorry. Okay, let's see what else. Okay, Early Riser 71 wants to know about heat and humidity and how we conquer it, and if we've thought about night hiking as a strategy. First off, it's so great having Early Riser supporting us. He sends us messages every once in a while, and they really do help with the motivation. And he finished, I don't know, maybe a month ago, and it's just so cool to have him on board, asking questions and giving advice and really pumping us up all the time. So there's a couple ways to deal with heat and humidity. One is night hiking. Basically, you get up and hike when the sun's not out. That's probably not something we're going to do, mainly because I think I would like to try it. I don't think Chica's really up for it. She's worried about stumbling in the dark, even though we're using headlamps. I think she's worried about her headlamp shining into the darkness and seeing eyes pointing back at her. even though it would be cooler, I don't think it's really an option for us. We have a couple times gotten up early and hiked early in the morning, just before sunrise, and we've also taken the strategy of trying to break between the hottest part of the day, 12 to 3, and then hike later into the night. The evenings are getting shorter now, so that really isn't much of a choice anymore. Otherwise, you just gut it through. And that's kind of what we do, and I think we're suffering the consequences of that. At least I am. Luckily, the weather has turned, and the last week and a half has just been dynamite. I can't complain at all. Let's see. Okay, the last one is for Chica, and I'll see if she can talk about women's cycles. One moment.
Hey guys. Okay, so I am talking about dealing with your period on the trail to women. Let's see. It's really how you deal with it in normal life. I use tampons, and you have to carry them out. You can't bury them or leave them in privies. So the only difference is you may not have a toilet or a privy to work with in putting them in or taking them out, but I just suggest using wet wipes and sanitizing your hands before putting a tampon in and before taking one out. And you do have to pack them out, as I mentioned. So what I've done is I took a heavy duty Ziploc bag and put duct tape all around it, so you can't really see in it because it's kind of gross, and just put my tampons in there. Some people suggested putting a tea bag in the tampon Ziploc because it helps just kind of absorb the odor. But really, I never smell it. I just Ziploc it shut, and I put it in my bear bag every night with my tampons I haven't used, like fresh tampons. And basically my whole toiletry kit goes in my bear bag because it has smells in it, like the toothpaste and stuff. So yes, that, what else can I say? I mean, it's kind of a pain, yeah. And you do use more wet wipes, which you have to carry those out as well. So luckily for me, and this has happened to a lot of other women too, I've heard, is that once you start hiking and losing weight and you're exercising so strenuously every day, that your period goes away, which mine has. So that's really cool. I just had to kind of deal with it for the first month and a half maybe or so. And my period was all over the place at first because it was probably like, what are you doing to me? I don't know what's going on. But I haven't had it for a while now, so that's cool. And so, yeah, if you have any other questions, let me know. Thanks. Also, some people, women, do use something called the Diva Cup, which is like a rubber thing you can insert into you that holds the blood. And I think you only have to change that like every 12 hours. So lots of women go for that option. But then you have to, when you empty it, you have to really make sure you rinse it out and be really clean about it. So I think that kind of scared me, and also I've never used it before, so I think it takes some getting used to, so you really have to play with it and use it for a while before going out on the trail with it, or I would. So lots of women use it though and love it. There are some people who have been uncomfortable with it and can never really get the hang of it because you have to kind of put it in differently than a tampon. So yeah, there's that. Other people, I think there's like different types of birth control you can do where you can just stop your period for 6 months. So I don't really know anything about that, so I'm not going to talk about that at all, except just to put it out there that is an option I've heard about. That's all for now. Bye.